Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is John Viglotti, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you joined us for our next presentation from ENRG Elements. And before I introduce our speaker, a few points to note. Please submit your questions in the question box to the left of the slides. And if you're interested in meeting with ENRG Elements, please click on the Schedule Meetings tab found in the platform navigation bar. You'll be able to view the company's availability and submit a meeting request. On a final note, all of today's presentations will be recorded and available for 24/7 replay. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome our next presenter. She's Caroline Keats, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of ENRG Elements Limited, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol EELFF and on the ASX under the symbol EEL. Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you very much for having me here today, John. I'm so pleased to be able to meet with you and speak with the investors and take everyone through our presentation. I won't tarry too long on the legal information slide, but I'll assume that you will read it later. ENRG Elements, we are an ASX-listed, African-focused exploration company. We have uranium assets in the uranium-rich Timisoi Basin in Niger, and we have copper assets in the emerging world-class Kalahari Copper Belt in Botswana. The last 18 months for the company has been incredibly exciting, but the last 12 months has been transformative. At the beginning of last year, with a relatively new board and management team, we refocused our efforts to be part of an industry that supports clean energy and decarbonisation. Consistent with the company's change in strategic focus, we changed the company's name from Kapor Metals, Kapor meaning copper in Botswanian, to ENRG Elements. Also in line with this, we completed the acquisition of the Agadez uranium project located in Niger in May last year. Shortly after the acquisition, we updated a historical resource at Agadez. So now we have a resource that is compliant with JORC 2012. We undertook exploration work at both our Niger and our Botswana assets. And to top off 2022, we defined an exploration target at Agadez. We have recently just updated our mineral resource at Agadez again, doubling it and also increasing the grade. So as you can see, the last 12 months from the acquisition of the Agadez project in May last year has been incredibly transformative for us, and we're looking to building on this over the next 12 months. It's really an interesting time for all of us, with energy costs, energy security and decarbonisation high on everyone's agenda. Our uranium and our copper assets, which are located in mining-friendly jurisdictions, are right on point. And with uranium and copper both being critical components to a clean energy future, we believe that our assets are really going to play an important role in that. We know that uranium is important in the supply of low-cost, reliable, and low-carbon power. And copper is going to play a significant role in the electrification of renewable energy systems. Let me talk to you a little bit about our company and about myself and the rest of the board. I started my career as a lawyer. I moved in-house. I took on senior legal, corporate services, commercial roles. I was the managing director of a copper producing company in the DRC called Tiger Resources. I've spent a lot of time in Africa in places like Malawi, Namibia, the DRC, Cameroon, South Africa, Niger. Less time in Botswana, but as we do more work on the ground on that asset, I'll be spending more time there as well. I'm joined on the board by James Eggins, who is our non-executive chairman, and he comes with a wealth of experience from the copper and the uranium sector. He started his career at Narbolec, which is a uranium producer in Australia. He went on to work for Olympic Dam, Australia's largest producer of copper and uranium, and he managed the global marketing and logistics of all of the material that was produced from that mine. I actually met James Eggins when we both worked at Paladin, and Paladin Energy is the only company that has taken an exploration or uranium exploration project through development and production over the last 20 years. In fact, they didn't do it once, they did it twice, firstly with the Lanahydrite project in Namibia, and the second project was the Kayelekera project in Malawi. We're also joined on the board by Quinton de Klerk, who is our non-executive director. Quinton is a mining engineer. He is a principal at Cube Consulting, and he spends his time during the day outside of his directorship work with us, converting resources to reserves. So a really important part of our team, and our board is supported by a strong technical team that are competent not only in the regions that they're operating in, but also in the commodities that and the minerals that we are looking at. So our team is a really, really important part of how we're able to take these assets to the next level. Our flagship project is our Agadez project, which is located in Niger, and it now has a shallow inferred mineral resource of 31.1 million tonnes at a grade of 31.5 parts per million for 21.5 million pounds of U3O8. Our Agadez uranium project was appealing to us for three main reasons. The first reason is because of the region that it's located within. The project consists of 3 exploration licenses covering an area of around 726 kilometres squared, and we also have an exploration licence application. So you can see the green blocks represent the exploration licenses that we have, and the red block is the exploration licence application that we hope to get granted in the near future. The area, or these tenements, are all located in Niger's Timisoy Basin, which is widely renowned for being highly prospective for uranium. Our tenements host similar geology to the French-owned Orano mines that have been operating and producing uranium within the region for around 50 years. And the tenements also host similar geology to the significant deposits that are held by TSX-listed Global Atomic and the Venture Exchange-listed GoviEx. And both of these entities are located or have assets located within the region, and that they're both on the cusp of development. So it's a great time for them, and it's a great time and region for us to be in. The other reason why we like these assets was because there was a lot of work that was done on the ground before we even acquired them. There was 24,000 metres of drilling already completed before completion of the sale occurred in May last year. The work started in the 1950s and the 1960s when the French government undertook a drilling campaign, and they did some radiometric studies, and they identified the area as an area of interest. An ASX-listed company called NGM Resources acquired these assets in 2007, and following their drilling campaign, which was for around 9,500 metres, in 2010, NGM Resources announced their maiden shallow inferred mineral resource, albeit that was under JORC 2004, and we updated that in May last year. And as I said, we've updated it again only recently. Paladin Energy acquired these assets in 2010, and they undertook a deeper drilling program. And that program confirmed that there was mineralisation at depth across the tenements, similar to that of the Orano mines and the significant deposits that are held by Global Atomic and GoviEx to the north of us. However, following the negative impacts of Fukushima, in 2016, Paladin relinquished these tenements, handing them back to government at a point in time when uranium prices were around or less than $20 a pound. We completed the acquisition of these tenements May last year, and we acquired them from Endeavour Financial, who were granted the permits in 2017. Last year, we also managed to acquire the historical exploration data for the Agadez uranium project from Paladin. And this historical work has been instrumental for us in saving a lot of time and effort and money, and from having to redo work that has already been done. This historical work has also been a great platform for us to use as a springboard for our exploration efforts. The other reason why we like these tenements is because Niger is such a strong jurisdiction for uranium. It has consistently been one of the largest producers of uranium globally, and as I previously mentioned, Niger has been producing uranium for at least 50 years. The Niger government is supportive of mining. We have a very good relationship with the department and the Ministry of Mines, and the minister has always had an open door policy with regards to progressing our assets and working with the company. And I think that that is consistent with all of the other players in the region as well. Because of the strong history of uranium mining, it has a strong uranium mining culture. It has a trained workforce in the region, which is good for us. And you've got the relevant infrastructure in place. You've got power, roads, water, and an airport. And we take a lot of comfort in the fact that Global Atomic and GoviEx, who both have substantial market caps, have been operating successfully in the jurisdiction for many years. Once we acquired the Agadez project, we wanted to get on the ground as quickly as possible. So in June, 2 weeks after the acquisition of the project was complete, we commenced a 5,500 metre shallow drilling campaign. The majority of the drilling was rotary mud, with around 160 metres being diamond core. Drilling focused in and around that targeted resource area, and our results have been really encouraging. Mineralisation occurred as part of that drilling program from surface down to a depth of around 40 metres, and it remains open in multiple directions. The highest grades that we saw occurred in 3 holes within the resource area, and that was around 1,100 to 2,200 parts per million for 2 metre intersections. The assays for our diamond core drilling program were also completed at the beginning of this year, and they validated the downhole logging results that were obtained during that drilling program. And based on this work, we doubled the resource at Tarkadit, increasing the grade by about 7%. And so we now have, as I said previously, 21.5 million pounds at a grade of 315 parts per million U3O8, with mineralisation extending from surface down to a depth of around 37 metres. This slide really is just depicting the drilling program that we undertook and where the original Tarkadit resource was sitting. The stratigraphic map essentially shows that our initial drilling program and the resource was basically sitting at in the Jurassic Formation within the Shirazine and Musadan sets. That is a shallow area where our mineralisation is currently sitting as part of the resource, but we also have mineralisation that is similar to the deposits that are held by Global Atomic and GoviEx and also by Orano. And their higher grade deposits are basically sitting in the lower Carboniferous zone, which is deeper. That is a second target for us, but we already know that we have that mineralisation in that is higher grade in that lower Carboniferous zone following the results of the drilling program that was undertaken by Paladin. Last year, we also completed a rock chip sampling program at the Agadez project, where we have some really outstanding assay results. The sampling program was developed based on historical radiometric studies and previous soil sampling. Around 90% of the 83 samples that we had taken had grades of over 500 parts per million. 5 samples had grades above 10,000 parts per million, and the highest grades that we saw were over 26% and 34% U3O8. So that is 260,000 and 340,000 parts per million. So for us, those results were amazing. And again, they've confirmed that there's mineralisation throughout our tenements, and it also supports our really strong belief that we'll be able to find more pounds on the ground and also at a higher grade. The information that we've obtained from this rock chip sampling program will inform our future drilling program and will also help us define some regional priority targets. At the end of last year, we defined an exploration target at Agadez of between 90 and 130 million pounds of U3O8. We're expecting and looking to see grades of between 300 and 400 parts per million with a mineralisation thickness of between 2 and 5 metres. We were able to define this solid exploration target following our review of the historical exploration results based on our understanding of mineralisation across our tenements and also because of our knowledge of the geology within the region. In order for us to test this exploration work, for us to further extend the Target deposit and also to identify new areas of mineralisation across our tenements, we've also developed a 20,000 metre drilling program, which will be implemented in phases. This program consists of around 379 holes and will have an average depth of around 50 metres. We're really looking forward to get on the ground during 2023 and commence our exploration program in Niger. That's really it with regards to our Niger project. I do want to talk to you about our Botswana assets, which is another important part of our asset package. Our Hansi West project is located in Botswana's Kalahari Copperbelt. It's one of the most investor-friendly mining jurisdictions in Africa. Our land package comprises an area of around 2,600 kilometres squared for covering 6 tenements. And these tenements sit along strike from Sandfire's Matheo mine, which is currently under construction and is just on the verge of production. It's also in the same region as Cobra's recent discovery at Ngami. Both of those companies are Australian listed companies, and Sandfire have got mines in Australia, in Africa and in other parts of the world as well. Last year, we completed an airborne electromagnetic and gravity survey over part of the Kara prospect area, which forms part of our Hansi West project. Interpretation of the geophysical survey identified 3 domal structures which are really similar to Sandfire's A4 and T3 deposits, which form part of their Matheo copper mine. With many drill targets identified, we decided to undertake an induced polarization survey over the area to help us prioritize our drilling. We've just completed that work, and the results of this survey identified a number of high priority drilling targets. We're in the process of defining the exploration work that will be undertaken at our Botswana assets based on these geophysical studies. I'll just stop at this slide, and in conclusion, what I wanted to say was that as a company, we are taking quite a focused and disciplined approach in developing the assets that we have and in building the company. Right now, we are an early stage explorer and we have plenty of upside potential, and we also have the right assets. We're working in the right jurisdictions, we have the right team to execute the work, and right now is the right time to really capitalise on our uranium and copper assets. We see this is a critical time for Energy Elements to be entering the clean energy space. At this stage, there's a supply deficit and an increasing demand for uranium, with current production not meeting reactor requirements. And this has been the case for many years. In fact, over the past few years, production has only been around 75% of the reactor requirements. Also, the involvement of physical traders such as SPUT have further tightened supply, and we've seen the impact on uranium prices raise as a consequence of this. So uranium prices were sub $30 a pound before SPUT got involved, and over the last 18 months or so, it's now over $50 a pound. Globally, the sentiment towards uranium has shifted as the world focuses on ways to reduce carbon emissions, governments across the globe are recognising that nuclear power will play an important role in the supply of low-cost, reliable and carbon-free power. And sadly, what's recently been played out in Europe has also meant that countries are looking for ways to increase their autonomy and not be so dependent on any one supplier to meet their energy requirements. Against this background, we believe that we'll be entering into a new uranium super cycle, and for similar reasons, we believe that copper is on the same trajectory. If you've got any questions with regards to energy elements or the matters that I've raised during the presentation, please feel free to contact me. My contact details are available on the slides, and I'll be happy to come back to you